My Amish neighbor Daniel grew sweet corn last summer that stood 8 feet tall on soil he's never spent $1 feeding. Most American gardeners, with myself included for years, buy fertilizer every spring and still end up with weak, hungry plants by August. Here's the thing. Daniel doesn't feed his plants at all. He feeds his soil, and the soil feeds everything else. There's a reason the Amish have done it this same way for over 200 years, and it doesn't involve a single bag from the garden center. I'm going to show you exactly what Daniel does in 4 steps you can start this weekend. And stick around to the end because I'll share the free amendment Daniel makes from something his family would otherwise throw in the burn pile. 8 feet tall. I measured it myself standing next to Daniel's sweet corn last August with my hand flat over my head and the tassels were still well above my fingers. That corn grew on soil he has never once spent a single dollar feeding. No bagged fertilizer, no liquid feed, nothing. For years I did it the other way. Every spring I'd buy a bag of 10-10-10, scatter it down my rows, and by August my plants were pale and hungry and limping toward the first frost. Here's where most American gardeners go wrong. We feed the plant directly with a quick bag of synthetic fertilizer, and that bag bypasses the soil's own biology and slowly starves it out. Daniel feeds the soil and the soil feeds the corn. I'm going to walk you through this in 4 steps you can start this weekend. The Never Stop compost pile, aged manure, cover crops, and keeping your soil covered. And stick with me to the end because I'll share the free amendment Daniel makes from something his family would otherwise throw on the burn pile. Step 1, build a compost pile that never stops. This is the foundation, and it's the thing Daniel circles back to more than anything else. He told me once, plain as can be, the pile is the heartbeat of the garden. If the pile stops, the garden stops. And in 50 years, his has never stopped. Every single day, something goes on to that pile. Kitchen scraps, garden trimmings, spent plants, the bedding out of the animal stalls. Here's how to do it right. You want a rough balance of browns and greens. Browns are your dry carbon. Dead leaves, straw, shredded cardboard. Greens are your wet nitrogen, vegetable peelings, grass clippings, fresh garden waste. Aim for a little more brown than green by volume and keep it about as damp as a wrung-out sponge. Turn it every week or two to work some air into it when that pile is cooking. It heats up. I keep a compost thermometer in mine, and a healthy, active pile will read between 130 and 150 degrees right in the center. That heat is billions of microbes breaking everything down into black, crumbly gold. These days, I take my coffee out every morning and walk the beds before I do a lick of work, and the pile is always my first stop. Daniel does the same. He says you can't tend what you don't see. Here's where most folks mess up. They build a pile, walk away, and never touch it again. A cold, dry, neglected pile just sits there for a year, doing nothing. No heat, no breakdown, no life. The fix is moisture and air. Keep it damp, turn it, and feed it daily the way Daniel does. Once that compost is finished, you spread 2 to 3 inches across the top of each bed every year. That's it. You don't dig it in deep. The worms and the rain carry it down. And here's the thing about that 8-foot corn. It didn't come from one good year of compost. It came from decades of 2 or 3 inches going down every single season until Daniel's soil turned into something that looks more like chocolate cake than dirt. Do this one step right, and within a season or 2, you'll feel your soil getting darker, looser, and richer under your hands. That's the engine. Everything else builds on it. Step 2, work aged manure into the top of your beds. Daniel keeps horses, so his manure is free. It's a byproduct of the farm, not something he drives to the store to buy. He's got a couple of cows too, and all of that manure goes into a pile of its own to age over the winter. Now, this is the part you cannot rush. He lets it compost down for 6 to 12 months until it's dark, crumbly, and has no real smell left to it. Then comes spring, he forks it into the top 4 to 6 inches of the bed. Not deep, not buried, just worked into the zone where the roots actually live. Here's where it goes wrong for people, and I learned this the hard way myself. Never use fresh manure. Fresh manure is so hot with nitrogen and ammonia that it will burn your plant roots right off, and it's loaded with live weed seeds that pass straight through the animal. Put fresh manure on your bed in May and you'll spend all of June pulling weeds and wondering why your seedlings are wilting. The fix is patience. Let it sit in compost until that heat is gone and the smell is gone with it. If you don't keep animals yourself, a lot of horse farms around here will give it away free for the hauling, and the Amish are glad to see it go to a good garden. Spread an inch or two of well-aged manure manure and work it shallow. What you get out of this is plants that hold a deep dark green all the way into August when your neighbor's fertilized rows are already going pale and tired. That slow, steady feeding doesn't spike and crash the way a bag of synthetic does. It just keeps giving week after week because the microbes release it on the plant's schedule, not yours. Step 3. Grow your own fertilizer with cover crops. This one took me the longest to understand, and it's the closest thing to magic I've ever seen in a garden. After the harvest comes out in fall, instead of leaving the bed bare, you sow a cover crop, although what the old-timers call green manure. Daniel uses crimson clover, winter rye, and hairy vetch, sometimes a mix of all three. Here in Lancaster County, Zone 6B, our first frost lands around the middle of October, and you want that cover crop in the ground about 4 weeks before that, So late September is the sweet spot. That gives it time to establish strong roots before the cold sets in. Then in spring, 2 to 3 weeks before you're ready to plant, you cut it down and turn it shallow into the soil, where it breaks down and feeds the next crop. Here's the part that still amazes me. The legumes, the clover and the vetch, actually pull nitrogen straight out of the air and fix it into little nodules on their roots. That's free nitrogen, the exact thing I used to pay for in a bag, being manufactured right there in my own bed by the plant itself. The rye does something different. Its roots break up compaction and add a mountain of organic matter when you turn it under. Where folks go wrong is timing. So too late, and the cover crop never establishes before winter, so it just sits there, thin and useless. Or they let it grow too long in spring and it goes to seed, and now you've planted a weed problem instead of a fertilizer crop. The fix is simple. Get it in the ground in early fall and cut it down before it flowers and sets seed. Do this and you've grown next season's fertilizer for the price of a handful of seed. Free nitrogen, free organic matter, and a bed that's covered and protected all winter long. Step 4. Keep your soil covered and put the rototiller away for good. This is the step that protects everything you just built in the first 3. Daniel keeps his beds covered year-round with 2 to 3 inches of mulch. Straw, shredded leaves, whatever the farm has on hand. Bare soil is an open wound. It bakes in the sun, crusts over in the rain, and loses the very biology you worked so hard to grow. A blanket of mulch keeps it cool, keeps it moist, feeds the worms, and smothers weeds before they start. Every fall, I run my mower over a pile of leaves and spread the shreddings right across the beds. By spring, they've half melted into the soil. Now, here's the harder part to swallow, because I fought it myself. Stop tilling. I ran a rototiller every spring for 15 years, churning that soil into a fine fluff, because that's how my father did it, and how I figured everybody did it. But Daniel doesn't own a rototiller. He's gardened the same plot for over 50 years without one. He told me, I don't protect my plants. My soil protects my plants. And a rototiller wrecks that protection. It shreds the fungal networks, those fine white threads that connect roots and carry nutrients underground, and it chops the earthworms to pieces. You spend all that effort building living soil, then you mince it every spring. Instead, I use a broad fork. Mine's the German U-shaped kind, hand-forged by a blacksmith right here in Lancaster. You step it in, rock it back, and it lifts and loosens the soil without ever turning it over. The biology stays right where it belongs. I stopped tilling about 18 years ago and never looked back. The payoff here is soil that stays loose, dark, and full of worms. Soil you can sink your hand into without a tool. Cover it, don't till it, and it just keeps getting better every single year. Look, what I've shared today is one piece of what Daniel taught me over 35 years. The full system is in my book, The 30-Day Amish Pest-Proof Garden Protocol. If you're tired of the fertilizer treadmill, buying the same bags every spring and still watching your plants go hungry by August, Chapter 4 lays out exactly why this works. It walks you through the soil food web in plain language and shows why living soil feeds your plants while chemical fertilizers quietly weaken them over time. It's $17 at backyardbuildbooks.com. If you're watching on your TV, go ahead and grab your phone and point it at the QR code on the screen. Take your time finding it. No rush at all. I'll be right here when you get back. And if you're already on your phone, the link is right down in the description. All right, let's keep going. Now that you got the 4 steps, let me save you from the 3 mistakes that quietly undo all of it. The first one I made myself for years. Mistake number 1 is reaching for fresh manure straight from the barn. Fresh manure burns your plant roots and seeds your whole bed with weeds you'll be pulling all summer. Compost it for 6 to 12 months until it's dark and odorless, and only then work it in. The second mistake is treating this like a one-time project. You spread compost once, see a little improvement, and quit. Soil isn't built in a single season. You add compost every spring, and by year 2 or 3, the garden starts building itself. The third mistake is the one that hurt me the most. For 13, maybe 15 years, I tilled every single spring and I thought I was helping. The rototiller shreds the very fungal networks and earthworms that move nutrients to your roots. You spend all that effort building rich soil, then you destroy its structure in 20 minutes. Daniel got me to put the tiller down for good. Broad fork and mulch instead, and the soil stays alive. Avoid those three, and the system you just learned will actually hold together season after season, the way Daniel's has for 50 years. I told you at the start I'd share the free amendment Daniel makes from something his family would otherwise throw in the burn pile. Here it is. It's clean hardwood wood ash. Daniel saves the ash from his wood stove all winter. Along with the ash from the brush pile his family would otherwise just let go to waste. I heat with a wood stove too, so I picked up the same habit. Here's how you use it. Spread roughly 5 pounds per 100 square feet, no more than once a year, and lay it down in late fall or early winter so it has time to work in before spring. Now the cautions, because they matter. Use only clean hardwood ash, never charcoal, never treated or painted wood, and keep it well away from acid-loving plants like your blueberries. Here's why it works. Wood ash runs about 3 to 7% potassium plus a good dose of calcium with a gentle liming effect that nudges your pH up. Most Pennsylvania soil, including mine, runs a little acidic, and acidity locks up nutrients. The ash corrects that and frees up the food the soil was hoarding, feeding the microbes that feed your roots, free from the burn pile. Before I let you go, I want to come back to the timing of all this. Compost in spring, cover crops in fall, wood ash in early winter, and it only works if you do the right thing in the right season. That's exactly what Chapter 9 of my book lays out, the seasonal maintenance calendar, spring through winter, telling you when to feed the soil and when to sow your cover crops. It's everything Daniel showed me over 35 years, organized into a 30-day protocol you can start this weekend. If you're ready to stop buying fertilizer every spring and run a system you install once and just maintain, that calendar is your roadmap. It's at backyardbuildbooks.com. If you're on the big screen, scan that QR code now and go ahead and pull your phone out. I'll wait right here. And if you're on your phone already, that link is sitting in the description. So that's the whole secret. You don't feed the plant, you feed the soil, and the soil feeds everything else. The way Daniel grows 8-foot corn for $0 year after year on the same plot he's tended for over 50 years. This is what I do here. Translate what my Amish neighbors quietly figured out generations ago. If you want to see where this starts, watch my video on building a never-stop compost pile next. Try it on a single bed this season and let me know in the comments how it goes. I'll see you in the next one up.